I'm very happy that not only the content of the interventions the past week, but also
From the vibrant streets of Manila to the sacred halls of the Vatican, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle's journey is one of faith, humility, and remarkable influence. Known as Asian Francis for his charisma, deep connection with the faithful, and progressive views on key Catholic issues, Tagle has captivated the hearts of millions. As one of the leading papabili candidates, his story from humble beginnings to the global stage raises a crucial question. Could this man, with his missionary spirit and unwavering devotion, be the next Pope Francis? Join us as we explore his rise to prominence and what sets him apart in the Catholic world. The humble beginnings of Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, born in 1957, in the bustling heart of Manila, the capital of the Philippines. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle's story is one of faith, family, and resilience. Manila is a city known for its contrasts, its vibrant street markets, towering skyscrapers, and quiet, humble neighborhoods where faith often becomes the guiding force for many. In the midst of this city, Tagle's early life was marked by a profound sense of humility, devotion, and a tightly knit community centered around his family and the Catholic faith. Growing up in a modest household, Tagle's family was not wealthy by any means, but they were rich in love, spirituality, and a deep connection to their faith. The Tagle family, like many Filipino households, placed a strong emphasis on religious values, with daily practices of prayer, attending Mass, and helping others. His parents, though not well off, instilled in him a sense of duty to his community and a firm belief in service to others. It was this combination of devotion, empathy, and familial support that laid the foundation for the man who would one day rise to be one of the most influential figures in the Catholic Church. Despite the simple nature of his upbringing, Tagle's potential was evident from a young age. His early years were marked by an eagerness to learn, a magnetic personality, and a natural leadership quality that drew people to him. Whether it was excelling academically or helping out a neighbor, young Luis Antonio, often affectionately called Chito by those who knew him, was always someone who could be relied upon. His innate sense of responsibility and desire to help others set him apart as a child, marking him as someone destined for greatness, though he never sought it for his own benefit. His academic excellence was matched by his deep empathy for the struggles of others, and it was this balance of intellect and compassion that would define his path in life. From medicine to the priesthood, a divine twist of fate. Interestingly, despite the early signs of leadership and service, Tagle's original dream was not to become a priest. As a young man, his ambition was to become a physician, believing that medicine would provide him with a tangible way to serve others. His desire to become a doctor stemmed from his deep commitment to helping people, particularly those in need. He was determined to alleviate the suffering he witnessed in the world, and felt that a medical career would allow him to make the most direct impact on people's lives. However, as with many of the world's great leaders, Tagle's life took a different course, a course that would ultimately lead him to the priesthood. The turning point came when, in a rather humorous twist of fate, he was convinced by a friend to visit a seminary. What began as a simple visit soon turned into a life-changing decision. Though Tagle initially resisted the idea, something within him stirred during his time at the seminary, and it became clear that this was God's plan for his life. His decision to pursue the priesthood marked the beginning of a journey that would carry him far beyond the streets of Manila and onto the global stage. Theological education and academic excellence. In the late 1970s, Tagle embarked on his formal education at the prestigious Ateneo de Manila University, one of the Philippines' foremost educational institutions. Here, he studied philosophy and theology under the guidance of the Jesuits, who would profoundly shape his intellectual and spiritual development. The Jesuit education system, known for its rigorous scholarship and commitment to social justice, played a pivotal role in molding Tagle's worldview. Through his studies, he became grounded in the intellectual traditions of the Church, and his passion for service deepened. Tagle's time at Ateneo was not just about acquiring academic knowledge. It was a transformative experience that shaped his understanding of the Catholic faith as being inherently intertwined with the struggles of everyday people. The Jesuits taught him that faith is not a solitary pursuit, but a collective journey, one that is deeply rooted in social justice and service to the marginalized. It was during this time that Tagle began to see his mission as a priest and a future leader of the Church, not just as one of spiritual guidance, but also as a force for societal change. His intellectual curiosity led him to further his studies abroad. In 1991, he earned a doctorate in sacred theology from the prestigious Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. His dissertation focused on the role of episcopal collegiality in the teachings of Pope Paul VI, an important area of ecclesiology that marked him as a rising star in the field of Catholic theology. Tagle's academic achievements opened doors to greater involvement in the global conversation about the Church's future, and he soon found himself sitting on the editorial board of the influential History of Vatican project, contributing to discussions about the Church's evolving role in the modern world. The priesthood. Building relationships and serving the people. In 1982, Tagle was ordained as a priest, and it wasn't long before his pastoral work began to draw attention. Rather than focusing solely on administrative duties, he made a conscious effort to build relationships within the church community. His approach to priesthood was centered around personal connection, meeting people where they were, listening to their struggles, and offering guidance with humility and compassion. It was during these early years of his ministry that Tagle earned the affectionate nickname, the Smiling Priest. His warmth and accessibility made him beloved by those he served. Tagle's pastoral approach emphasized service over tradition, and it was clear that his leadership would be marked by a profound commitment to others. He did not view his role as a priest or future bishop as one of power or status, but as a responsibility to serve. Whether he was assisting with the local parish, offering counsel to a young couple, or helping a neighbor in need, his actions reflected a deep-rooted belief that leadership was about uplifting others, not elevating oneself. A rising star, Archbishop of Manila, and Cardinal in 2001, Pope John Paul II appointed Tagle as the Bishop of Imus, a diocese located in the province of Cavite. However, it wasn't until 2011 that Tagle truly began to make his mark on the global stage. When Pope Benedict XVI named him Archbishop of Manila, Tagle's influence in the Church expanded significantly. Manila, one of the largest Catholic communities in the world, became his spiritual home, and his leadership there would become a model of compassionate guidance. His approach to leadership was a departure from the traditional hierarchy often seen within the Church. Tagle viewed his role as a shepherd, leading with humility and empathy, guiding his flock with both spiritual insight and a deep concern for their well-being. His leadership was never about titles or personal ambition. It was about responding to the pastoral needs of the community and being present for those who needed guidance the most. His leadership was put to the test in 2013 when Typhoon Haiyan struck the Philippines, leaving a path of destruction in its wake. Thousands of people lost their lives, and entire communities were devastated. Yet, in the face of such tragedy, Tagle's response was swift and unwavering. He not only offered spiritual support to the survivors, but also coordinated relief efforts to provide tangible aid. He visited the affected areas, offering comfort and encouragement to those who had lost everything. His tireless advocacy for the survivors, combined with his hands-on approach to recovery, exemplified the essence of servant leadership. A global voice for the marginalized. The rise of Cardinal Tagle. Tagle's rise to prominence did not stop with his work in the Philippines. In 2012, Pope Benedict XVI appointed him as a cardinal, making him one of the youngest men in history to receive such an honor. This title was not simply a recognition of his priestly accomplishments, but a reflection of his growing influence within the Church. His leadership, built on compassion, authenticity, and a genuine desire to serve, had already earned him the respect of both his peers and the faithful. As a cardinal, Tagle's influence expanded beyond the Philippines. He became an advocate for those often ignored by the global community: the poor, the marginalized, and the disenfranchised. He participated in Vatican synods on important issues such as family, youth, and evangelization, where he advocated for a church that was inclusive, compassionate, and responsive to the needs of the modern world. His voice became one of reason, a voice that resonated with those who felt unheard in the Church, and his commitment to social justice became a hallmark of his leadership. In addition to his work within the Vatican, Tagle assumed leadership of Caritas Internationalis, the Catholic Church's global charity organization. In this role, he worked tirelessly to address issues of poverty, inequality, and human rights, advocating for a church that not only preached love, but also lived it through action. Tagle's leadership at Caritas reflected his belief that the Church's mission was not only spiritual, but deeply social, a mission to address the physical and emotional needs of the world's most vulnerable populations. The vision for a global church, a vision of inclusivity and compassion. In 2019, Pope Francis appointed Tagle as the prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, a position that placed him at the heart of the Vatican's missionary efforts. This prestigious appointment recognized Tagle's long-standing commitment to fostering a more inclusive and compassionate church, one that embraced cultural diversity and sought to represent the global Catholic community in all its complexity. Tagle's vision for the Church was one that emphasized enculturation, the integration of local traditions and cultures into the Church's practices. He firmly believed that the Church should not be a monolithic institution, but a living, breathing community that respected and celebrated the unique identities of different cultures. His travels and work abroad reinforced this belief, and he advocated for the inclusion of indigenous music, art, and traditions in liturgies worldwide. For Tagle, enculturation was not just an abstract idea, but a practical approach to enriching the Church and connecting with people on a deeper level. The future of the Catholic Church. Could Cardinal Tagle be the next pope? As Cardinal Tagle's influence continues to grow, the question remains, could he be the next pope? With his intellectual depth, unwavering commitment to social justice, and ability to connect with people on a personal level, Tagle stands as a formidable candidate for the papacy. However, his journey is far from over, and only time will tell how his legacy will unfold. What is certain, however, is that Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle's life is a testament to the power of faith, service, and humility. From the streets of Manila to the gates of the Vatican, Tagle has shown the world what it means to lead with heart and faith. His journey is one of profound devotion to others, and it continues to inspire millions across the globe. The question of whether he will become the next pope is not just about his qualifications, it's about the impact he has already had and will continue to have on the world. The Path of Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, A Journey of Faith, Service, and Global Impact. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle's story is one that resonates not only with Filipinos, but with people of faith worldwide. From his humble beginnings in the Philippines to his prominent role in the Vatican, Tagle's journey reflects the transformative power of faith and service. His compassionate leadership, theological depth, and commitment to social justice have earned him respect and admiration across continents. Yet, as his influence continues to grow, questions arise about his ability to navigate the complexities of the modern Catholic Church and lead it through its most difficult challenges. In examining the profound journey of Cardinal Tagle, it's important to understand how his vision for the Church intertwines with the values of mercy, justice, and compassion. These ideals, deeply embedded in his ministry, have led him to take bold stands on critical issues such as migration, interfaith dialogue, and the role of young people in the Church. However, the road ahead is far from simple. Tagle's ascent to the highest echelons of the Catholic Church is not only a testament to his deep faith, but also his unwavering commitment to reform and service in a time of crisis. Education and formation, shaping a theological vision. Tagle's formal education began at Ateneo de Manila University, one of the most prestigious universities in the Philippines, where he studied philosophy and theology. Under the guidance of the Jesuits, he was introduced to the intellectual traditions of the Catholic Church, which would profoundly shape his theological thinking and his vision of the Church's role in society. During his time at Ateneo, Tagle's academic brilliance became even more evident. He earned a bachelor's degree and later a master's degree in theology, further cementing his intellectual foundation. It was during these formative years that Tagle developed a deep understanding of the Church's commitment to social justice. The Jesuits, known for their commitment to both rigorous scholarship and social change, had a significant impact on his thinking. The challenges faced by the poor and marginalized became central to his faith, leading him to a realization that the Church's mission was not just to preach the gospel, but also to serve the most vulnerable. Tagle's theology was rooted in this conviction, that faith must always be linked with action and service to others. In 1991, Tagle's academic journey took him to the United States, where he earned a doctorate in sacred theology. His dissertation focused on the role of episcopal collegiality in the teachings of Pope Paul VI, marked him as a rising star in the world of ecclesiology. This academic achievement would open doors for him to become involved in the Bologna School of Church History, a group of scholars who viewed the Second Vatican Council as a defining moment in the Church's history. For the next 15 years, Tagle would contribute to global conversations about the future of the Church, particularly regarding the role of bishops in guiding the faithful. Rising to prominence, a global leader in the Catholic Church. In 2001, Pope John Paul II appointed Tagle as the Bishop of Imus, a significant moment that marked the beginning of his rise within the Church. However, it was in 2011, when Pope Benedict XVI named him Archbishop of Manila, that Tagle truly began to make a global impact. His leadership style, which combined deep theological insights with practical compassion, resonated with people worldwide. As Archbishop of Manila, Tagle placed a strong emphasis on pastoral care, reaching out to those in need and offering tangible support during times of crisis. Tagle's leadership was put to the test in 2013 when Typhoon Haiyan, locally known as Yolanda, struck the Philippines, one of the deadliest natural disasters in the country's history. Thousands of people lost their lives, and entire communities were devastated. In the wake of the disaster, Tagle became a tireless advocate for the survivors, calling for international support and coordinating relief efforts across the Philippines. His presence in the affected areas offered hope to those who had lost everything, and his efforts to mobilize the Church's resources helped provide vital aid to the suffering. A vision of compassion. The global stage. In addition to his work in Manila, Tagle's influence expanded internationally. In 2012, he was named a cardinal by Pope Benedict XVI, making him one of the youngest cardinals in the Church's history. His elevation to the College of Cardinals was not merely a recognition of his theological contributions, but a reflection of his growing influence within the global Catholic community. As a cardinal, Tagle's work in Vatican synods, particularly those focused on social issues like family life, youth, and evangelization, allowed him to shape the direction of the Church's mission in the modern world. As president of Caritas Internationalis, the global charitable organization of the Catholic Church, Tagle continued his work advocating for the poor and marginalized. One of his most significant initiatives during this time was the Share the Journey campaign, which sought to raise awareness about the plight of migrants and refugees around the world. The campaign called on people to walk alongside refugees, embracing them and showing solidarity in their time of need. Tagle's leadership in this initiative demonstrated his deep belief in the Church's responsibility to serve those on the margins of society. Interfaith dialogue and peace-building. A message of unity. Tagle's leadership in interfaith dialogue has also been a hallmark of his global ministry. In the Philippines, where tensions between Catholic and Muslim communities have at times led to violence, Tagle has worked tirelessly to bridge divides and promote peaceful coexistence. His personal relationships with Muslim leaders in Mindanao, especially during the violent conflict in 2017, have demonstrated his commitment to unity and peace. Tagle's message has always been clear. Faith must not divide people, but rather bring them together in love and understanding. Through his efforts, Tagle has highlighted the shared humanity of all people, regardless of religious background. His work in promoting interfaith dialogue reflects his broader vision of a church that is inclusive, compassionate, and dedicated to promoting peace across the globe. Facing global challenges, the test of leadership. As Tagle's influence within the Church continues to grow, so too do the challenges he faces. In 2019, Pope Francis appointed him as prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, a position that places him at the heart of the Church's missionary efforts. This role has provided Tagle with the platform to promote his vision of an inclusive, culturally respectful church. Tagle's leadership will be tested in the years to come, particularly in the areas of church reform, the clergy sexual abuse crisis, and the growing secularization of Western societies. His deep commitment to mercy and justice